Hey students, welcome to the Digital Math Station. Today our focus at this station will be how do we divide using repeated subtraction. This is a method that we've been practicing over the last few days, and I'd like to have some more practice right now with you. So, you'll be looking with grid paper at these problems, starting with 798 divided by 2. I need you to make sure that you are whole body listening. Face the board, eyes like arrows, mind and body in the group. So first, I need to put first things first and set up my multiplication chart. 798, which is my dividend, will be divided by my divisor of 2. I then separate my two sides with a line. I need to make sure that I understand this line represents an important divide. On one side, I am going to do multiplication. That's over here, which is why I always remind myself that I'm either multiplying by 1, by 10, or by 100. That's where place value comes into play. And on the interior, I'm subtracting, because remember, we are dividing through the method of repeated subtraction. The way you do that is by using the two steps, multiplying and then subtracting. The first thing I need to ask myself is what's the divisor? In other words, how many 3's are you looking for? If you're wondering where this number came from, take a look at the divisor. And you'll notice I'm actually wrong. Initially I was thinking it was the number 3, but my divisor is 2. So I need to change this number. It's not how many 3's, it's actually how many 2's. How many 2's go into 798 is a pretty difficult question, which is why we start with multiplication. We're either going to be multiplying by 1, by 10, or by 100. So let's start with the biggest number that we have, which is 100. The reason we start with 100 is because basically we're using our knowledge of place value to figure out how many hundreds or 200s fit into 798. Well, one 200 is only going to be 200. And certainly you could put one 200 in there, but I think you can fit a few more in there. The way you determine that is skip counting by the 2's until you get close to 7. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to skip count by 2 and tally. 2, 4, 6. I want to stop there because if I go any further, I'm going to get to 8, and that will have me over my number 7. So this isn't actually just one 100, but I'm actually going to replace it with the 3 that I have. 3 100s. Now, on this side, we all mentioned that we're multiplying. First, it's by 100, and because I can fit more than just 100 in there, I'm going to multiply my 300 by how many 2's, which is 2, and that's going to give me the answer that goes underneath my dividend, which eventually I'm going to subtract. 300 times 2 can be looked at more than a couple of different ways. If you just focus your attention on 3 times 2, that is a 1-digit multiplied by a 1-digit number. 3 times 2 is 6. And then add in your zeros. So even if it's a large number, you should be able to solve. Now that I've multiplied on the right, I need to subtract inside underneath the dividend. 8 minus 0 gives me 8, and 9 minus 0 gives me 9. Finally, 7 minus 6 is 1. Well, I've multiplied by 100, and although I could multiply by 100 again, in this case, it's a little bit too big. So I'm actually going to move to the next place value, which is 10. And again, I can take out more than just one 10. So take a look at 19, skip count by 2 until I get close to, but not over, 19. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, I want to stop. Which means this is not just one 10, but it's actually 9 10s, which is equivalent to 90. I still don't know exactly what I'm going to subtract in here, but remember the way to do that is by multiplying by your divisor. So I'm taking 90 and I'm multiplying it by 2. Again, don't be nervous because this is a 2-digit number by a 1-digit number. You can just simply focus your attention on the 9 times 2, which is 18, and then count how many zeros you have to add into your answer, which is 1 0. I multiply on the right, and I subtract inside underneath the dividend. 8 minus 0 is 8. 9 minus 8 is 1. And 1 minus 1 is 0. I'm still not done because I need to make sure I go over each place value. I did the 100s, when in actuality there were 3 100s that fit into 798. I did the 10s, which in actuality there are 9 10s, or 90, that fit into 198. And now I need to look at the 1s. And just like the previous 2, there's going to be more than just 1 that I can fit into there. So I come over here, step outside of the problem, and skip count by 2 again until I get up to 18, but not over. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. I'm at 9 again. So I'm going to replace this 1 with how many I can actually fit into there, which are 9 1s. I still, however, do not know how many fit inside underneath my dividend. And the way to do that, remember on this side I'm multiplying, and I'm always taking how many? 2. In this problem it's 2 because that's my divisor. And 9 times 2 is 18. That's how I generate my subtraction problem. And when I subtract 18 from 18, I end up with 0. As long as you end up with 0, or a number that is lower than your divisor, then you're done, for the most part. We've multiplied and we've subtracted. We've used repeated subtraction to divide. So now we have to just take this expanded form number, 300 plus 90 plus 9, and turn it into a standard number. Now, once I've changed this expanded form number into a standard form number by adding 9 plus 0 is 9, 9 plus 0 is 9, and 3 plus nothing is 3, I now have a standard form number that can be placed in my answer, which I will write in orange. So 798 can be divided by 2 399 times. In other words, you can have 2 groups of 399 to get to your 798. In my grouping then, I go back. This is number 3 down. I go to number 3 down and I put 399. Let's try another one. How about number 4? 849 divided by 3. First, I'm going to clear my board. So now that I've set up my grid, I can see that I am dividing 849 by the divisor 3. So I'm going to ask myself, how many 3's are in 849? I need to separate my board to get things started. And I have 2 sets in this repeated subtraction division problem. On this side, I'm going to do nothing but multiply, and inside, underneath the dividend, I'm going to do nothing but subtract. Well, the only way I can figure out what I'm going to subtract is by asking myself, do I start by multiplying by 1, by 10, or by 100? I'm going to multiply by the place value in the hundreds and start there. Only I can fit more than just 100 into 849, especially when I'm considering how many 3's. I just need to skip count by 3 up to, but not over, 8. 3, 6, and then I stop, because if I did too much, then I'd go over 8, and that would not be great. Sorry for the bad singing, but I can take this 1 out, is all I'm saying, and actually say, well, no, it could be 200, which is even better, because that's going to get us to the answer much quicker. I still don't know how I'm going to actually put in a subtraction. Well, I take 200, and I'm going to multiply it by the divisor, which is 3, and that's going to give me my answer. Again, don't be nervous if you see 3 times 200. Just focus on 3 times 2, which gives you 6, and then add in your 2 zeros. That gives you 600. Now you're ready to subtract. 9 minus 0 is 9, 4 minus 0 is 4, and 8 minus 6 is 2. Can I fit any more 100s inside of 249? I can't, because 100 times 3 is going to be 300, which means I move on to the next place value of 10. Only I'm not just going to take out 10, I'm going to take out as many 10s as I possibly can until I get up to, but not over, 24. I have to skip count again by 3 to see how many 10s actually can fit in to the number 24. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. My answer is 24. So if I get to 24, I count up my tallies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Which means there's more than just one 10 that can fit into 249. There's actually 8 10s, or 80 total, that can fit into 249. Because when you take 80 and multiply it by the divisor 3, you're going to get 240. I was able to solve that because I did 8 times 3 and then added in my 0. I'm now ready to subtract. 9 minus 0 is 9, and everything else just drops to 0, which leaves me with multiplying by 1. And once again, I can take more than just 1 if I just skip count up to, but not over, 9. 3, 6, 9, stop. I stop there because it tells me that it's not just 1, but it's actually 3. I have 3 ones that I can fit into 9. How do I know? Because when I multiply by the divisor of 3, 3 times 3 is equivalent to 9. Finally, I subtract. 9 minus 9 is 0. And I've got this expanded form number, 200 plus 80 plus 3, that when I add them together will give me my answer of 283. I can go back to my worksheet, see which number I was doing, 4 down, and place it into the correct area. 283. You'll notice that you'll be able to check your work not just with multiplication on this chart, but you can also see that if 7 across doesn't start with 3, then maybe one of your answers is incorrect. So by using this step-by-step process, you're actually using repeated subtraction to divide. I hope that going over these couple of problems helped you. Now I hope that when you transition back to the next station, you'll be able to do it with a little bit more confidence. Trust me, it's going to take practice, but you will figure it out. Please continue to work hard as we move throughout our stations today.